Hi there, Simon from simonwoods.com. Chardonnay. 4 of them. 3 of them from California, 1 of them from Burgundy. Without any further ado, let's kick in. The idea of this, I've got to find a couple of Californian Chardonnays for a piece I'm doing for the Square Meal magazine. And I don't know what your experience of lower end Californian Chardonnay is, but trying to find anything decent at £10 and below is almost impossible. There are wines there, but most of them for me are either too sweet, too bland, too ripe, and often all 3. So, I mean, I'll be interested in this one. This is Tesco's finest, so it must be really good. The only thing I have against it, to prejudice me before I taste it, is that it says vinted and bottled by Winery Exchange. Vinted. Who invented that word? Anyway, Sonoma County Chardonnay. So reasonably, Sonoma is the next door valley to Napa, so slightly cooler, closer to the coast. But there's Sonoma and there's Sonoma. There's quite different bits. Let's see what this is going to be like. Well, I stick my nose in it. It doesn't feel like it's going to be sweet. It doesn't. It smells ripe, but it doesn't smell overripe, and it doesn't feel like it's confected. It doesn't feel like it's propped up by too much oak. There's a touch of oak, there's a touch of smokiness there, but the main flavours are, yes, just overripe peaches, pineapples. Not so they've gone into that wobbly fruit syrup edge of fruits like that, but there's also like a mealy, nutty edge as well there. It smells quite good. There's not much decent £10 Californian Chardonnay around. That is the best I've tried for a long, long time. It's not trying too hard. I think that's where it succeeds. It's not trying to overbear you with either excess ripeness, power, oak, whatever. It's just confident in its gentle, it's got this gentle tropical, ever so slightly syrupy tropical fruit edge. Right, doing a step up. Next 2 wines are from a guy called Jim Clendenin, who's got a winery down in Santa Barbara called Au Bon Climat. So I've got an Au Bon Climat wine, but the first one here is, well, the label says, instructions to winemaker. I said, hey dude, make a wine on the wild side. And it's called Wild Boy. I don't know if you can see the label there. I'll flash it up again if you can't. And I'm sure this label at one point when it first appeared in the 90s, I think it actually had hair on the label. I might have made that up, but if I haven't, it would have been a good idea, wouldn't it? Anyway, 2008 Santa Barbara. Now, compared with the Tesco Sonoma one, the first thing that I notice about here is the fruit feels cooler, rather than that slightly tropical edge. Here we're much more in the ripe apples, a bit of pear, maybe a bit of plum, and if there's anything on that peachy edge, it's more sort of what they call stone fruits. It's more on the apricot and nectarine edge rather than the overripe peach. And oak, it doesn't feel like there's a huge amount of oak here. I bet it's been aged in all oak, but it doesn't feel like there's been very much new oak there at all. There's a slightly mealy, nutty edge, maybe not as much as there was in the Tesco one, but yeah, it feels finer. Yeah, it's lighter in body, but it's just got more personality. It's not having to try and overdress. It's just got a nice figure. It's not ashamed to show it unadorned, like me, I suppose. And if I mean, some people say, oh, this is our Chablis style wine. Basically what they mean is it's unoaked. I wouldn't say this were anywhere near Chablis, but if someone had said to me that it was a Burgundy from further south, so bottom end of Burgundy, someone like the Mâconnais, I would have believed them. Maybe if there's anything that gives it away, it's almost that little bit of sunshine that's coming through in the fruit, especially on the finish. There's a warmer, riper, certainly not hot alcoholic ripeness, and none of that oily, over-the-top richness. But yes, there's this bit of brightness there, and maybe not as much of the minerally edge that you get in good southern Burgundies. So, Au Bon Climat proper, both same vintage, same area, but it will be getting better fruit in here. I remember it was either Jim Clendenin or one of his importers saying that once upon a time they'd sent an Au Bon Climat wine in to a magazine which shall remain nameless, and the magazine gave it 57 out of 100. So ever since then, when reviewers from this magazine have been to the winery, they've pulled out some old stock of this wine, which is aging beautifully. Yeah, it's the sort of wine which is atypical for California, in that it's not trying to impress you on first appearance. It's not handshake wine, it's not shoulder pad wine. It's wine that creeps up on you rather than sort of says, "Hi, I'm Zach." Anyway, stick my nose in. Well, first sniff. I was saying about Mâconnais here. This is even more Mâconnais. There's more of that. There is some of that minerally edge here, and it feels like similar sort of fruit characters. That apple and yeah, apple puree. You know, when they do apple snow in fancy restaurants, a little bit of that. It's weird because there's an extra richness to it, but there's also an extra leanness. It's both fatter and thinner, if that makes sense. I suppose what I mean is there's more concentration of flavour there, but the spine is straighter. It's got this minerally edge, it's got acidity, it's got freshness, again oak, beautifully handled. There's a touch there rather than well, I think you could say instead of there being there's a kiss of oak rather than a major snog fest, if you want to put it that way. I like that very much indeed, and it feels, thanks to that backbone, it feels like leave it for a few years, and instead of being left with something that's just has turned into fruit cocktail, you'll have got something in which those more minerally, the mealy edges are coming more and more through. The fruit's still there, but it's getting more and more underplayed. I think that's what I like about these two, what I call underplayed fruit, and atypical for California. A lot of Californians, as I say, they're handshake and shoulder pads. Okay, final wine. We are in Burgundy, but we're at the top end of the Côte d'Or. Marsannay is in the Côte de Nuits, and the Côte de Nuits is mostly red wine, but there's a few bits of white. There's some white Nuit Saint-Georges, there's some white Maurice Saint-Denis, and Louis Latour's white Marsannay, 2007. I've enjoyed this wine in the past, and I've enjoyed the red Marsannay too. In terms of difference between here and here, this is much more on the green apple edge. It feels like it's going to be leaner, certainly more acidity here, a bit more freshness. I should, in strict tasting order, I should probably have done this first, but I thought it'd be nice to see the contrast between this and the Au Bon Climat. And there's a little creamy edge there from some of that malolactic fermentation, but just it's not gone onto that cheesy malolactic fermentation edge. It feels, if anything, again I was saying, just a bit too safe. There's no one is going to object to that. It's got this this slightly quite precise bit of mineral, green apple, maybe just a touch of underripe pineapple. But it doesn't have for me that, it doesn't have an extra mile. It doesn't make me want to go, it doesn't make me swoon. I think Burgundy should make your knees go a bit funny. And whereas the Au Bon Climat makes my knees go, this one is just a little on that safe side. It does feel like it's going to age quite well. 2007, it's probably got another 3 or 4 years ahead of it. But I think by then the Au Bon Climat will be really hitting its stride, and will be outpacing it even more than it is at the moment. But okay set of wines, and very impressed by the Tesco one. See you soon.